Hey everybody, welcome to the What's Up Solar Podcast. If you're listening to this podcast, you could do me a huge favor. Like the thing. Simply download it to your phone. You don't have to listen to it when you see it. You can save it for later. You can download on YouTube or see it on YouTube or just like and share. But the biggest thing is just kind of keep it with you. Download it, use it when you're on a jog, when you're on a run, or you're driving in your car. It helps the podcast out a lot. Now, let's get to the show. Today, I have Brittany Boyette. We became fast friends several months ago when I needed her help in facilitating some things that I was doing. And we just stayed in communication, and she is like me. She's an entrepreneur, and I like to help entrepreneurs. I like to communicate with entrepreneurs because I can learn things from other entrepreneurs. How are you, Britt?
I'm good. I'm excited. How are you?
I'm good. When I first met you, I was like, who is this woman? She's communicating and all over the place. And I didn't really understand what your business is, but you've built your business on intentional marketing.
Yes.
Is that correct? Is that a good way to say it?
Yes.
All right. What inspired you to start your own path? I know what inspired me to start my own path, but what gave you the impetus to start on your own path, and how has it evolved as you've moved into the space?
What inspired me to start my own path is I started off in the corporate world, and I realized that the more successful I got, the more lonely that it was. And I was very successful in the corporate world, a top seller, a top manager, a top district manager. I led a team of 60 people, but I was a number.
Yeah.
And I was talked down to. And when you're nothing but a number and you don't produce, it's like you don't really exist. So, you know what I mean? And
oh yeah,
and the bullying and the isolation and the people that you think love you and you have just built them up, like you're just like, you need to promote this person. They kind of turn two-faced. And I was like, I want to be more. I want to be a leader. And I finally met somebody that was a mentor that touched my life. And I was like, I'm struggling with this. I'm on the struggle bus and I don't know how to handle this situation. This employee is unethical and I'm being talked to like this and I'm being degraded. What do I do? And he literally reached his hand out and was like, I got you. Let me teach you. And I've never forgot that feeling. And then afterward, I ended up saying, I don't want this corporate life anymore. It's not for me. It's draining me. It's really killing my soul, sucking me dry, basically.
I think a lot of people can identify with that.
Yeah. I was like, I need to be more than a number. Like I have a why. I have a meaning. And my meaning, I was sitting beside my little mini me, who you may see occasionally kind of flash by, is I looked at him and I was like, you're my why. And I started thinking about his life. And then we got the autism diagnosis. And then COVID happened. And it was extreme isolation.
Yeah.
But what's more isolation is being a special needs parent and saying, how can I set my son's life up different than what I've had? Like, how can I make sure he's set up for success? So I started like building my why, kind of like imagine Lego blocks. Imagine sitting there and taking the things that hurt you and putting your Lego blocks together and saying, I want to build a better life for my mini me and then my future, right? So I went out into the community and I realized that special needs kids are not included. Special needs families are not invited. They're not thought about. We are not a thought. Yes.
But let's digress on that, because I hear it so much in the conversation about special needs, particularly with autism. It's really in the forefront of our society now. You would think that, for lack of a better word, that inclusion would be at the forefront.
You would think, but here's the thing is it lacks education. So when people think autism, neurodivergent, really think about it. When you went to school, you were taught How many autistic kids were in the room with you? Really think about the classroom, the teacher. Where did they go? They weren't there. So now when you think about that mindset, the autistic special needs people are being pulled from the classroom. You weren't taught how to say hi. You weren't taught to talk to autistic people. You weren't taught to learn sign language. It wasn't a language you were encouraged. You were taught German, French, which are wonderful languages. But what about to deaf people or people that want to say hi, bye, I love you? You know what I mean? What about those people? There are a bunch of nonverbal people out there. Now imagine meeting them out in the wild. And then you see them. How do you talk to them? Remember, every behavior is language.
Yeah, that's speaking of language, I was recently overseas, and I visited 2 different countries with 2 different languages, and you really edit yourself. You really ask yourself, is this vitally important that I need to say if you don't have the means to communicate? Or let me stumble through this. And I could see that with someone who may not understand that there are different communication modalities in humans. Mm-hmm. Now, that was your driving force. And I met you, let's tie this together, because this is pretty much a solar and renewables podcast. And people are probably wondering like, hey, how's Brittany coming under here?
Connect the dots, yeah.
Well, that's how we met, is that we were doing work together related to solar. And I said, oh, and we just kept up our communication, since that time. But now that you've ventured into this, what's your vision for your business moving forward? What kind of clients and collaborators are you really looking for?
So coming into the solar industry and getting with the clients and different things and meeting different people, it's really helped me to discover the type of clients that I really work well with and that align better with me. They are people that are coaches, mentors, thought leaders, people that are looking to take their career to the next step. They're wanting to leave that comfort zone, and that's not easy. And I'm just like, all right, you said you were ready. Do you trust me? It's kind of like being on the Titanic, Leo's asking Kate, do you trust me? I'm kind of doing the same thing. And I'm just like taking your hand, like, okay, let's go. So I'm going to push you out of your comfort zone. And then through doing that, I've built different relationships in the solar industry. And I have fallen in love with the people in this industry because meeting the people, they are passionate, they are knowledgeable. And you got to think, I came from a corporate world where everything's like, this is it. This is the book. You don't think outside here. You think here. And in this industry, you think outside the box.
You have to.
Marvelous. Yeah. And I mean, like, I've been on the phone with so many marketers, and just their mindset, the way they, like, if I could have an FBI board with red lines behind me with different paths, you know what I mean? Like, that's their mindset. I need to have this by 2 a.m. And it doesn't stop. It's constantly creating. And when you sit there, I'm just like,
I'm that way too. My mind does not turn off. And there's a litany of things to do, and somebody told me that's a form of ADHD or ADD. But it's a superpower, because once you focus in on something, everything else just kind of goes away. But we've told the audience how you and I met and that solar was our common bond. What are some of the services that you currently offer, and what kind of clients would you love to support the most within those services?
So I offer different things. I go from event planning to CRM organization. I do all kinds of different things. I do brand strategy, which is one of my favorites, along with event planning. And based off those, I really look for people that are wanting to take, like I said, that career to the next level. But what I mean by that is you're ready to come out of your comfort zone and put yourself in front of people. You're saying, okay, I've done this, I've accomplished this. What's the next step? Are you ready for it? Like if there was a Taylor Swift theme song right now. Are you ready for it? Are you ready to be on stage? Are you ready to have interviews? Are you ready to be recorded? Are you ready to have your presence more known? Are you ready for that expansion in your newsletter? Are you ready for that website revamp? And these may
Hmm.
seem like small things, but it's a whole mentality change. And when you work with me, it's like I'm landing in a safe space where I can tell her my dreams. I become your fairy godmother. Keep in mind, I need to refill my own pixie dust sometimes. So if I book a Disney vacation, just let me go refill so that I can help you.
I like that. So one of the things about event planning, one of the biggest items, particularly in the solar market, are trade shows, webinars, things of that fall into that scope, which is actually putting the product out there, either putting it out at a trade show. And there used to be like 4 shows a year. Now there's a show literally every month, it seems, and they have sub factions. Is that one of those things that you can help either startups or current companies with a limited marketing to prosper forward with that?
Yes. So I've actually been in a rabbit hole lately researching this, which is really awesome that you asked me this question. And if you know, it's a neurodivergent strength. So I've been like doing research on LinkedIn. When do you like to post? What type of content do you like to read? Think about it. How do you do it? Are you on your bicycle? Are you at work? Are you listening to it while you cook? What's your lifestyle? How do you absorb knowledge about things that you care about and that you're passionate about in the solar industry? Or do you like to read the newspaper? And then think about the different generations and how they used to consume content,
Yeah.
newspaper and magazines. And then we go all the way to the newest generation where, I mean, my age had flip phones, you know, and now we have podcasts while we
Yeah.
another razor, whoosh, do the multitasking. But with that, there are different clients that are ready for different things. And something that I've been wanting to do is, so here's your budget. What is available out there? Because you got to think in the solar industry, each person says, I want to, not each person. Some people will say, I want to be a thought leader in the industry. I'm ready to level up. I think I'm ready for it. Okay. Have you hosted a workshop yet? There's a free one coming up. Or have you networked yet? What does your network currently look like? Who is your audience that you're trying to connect to? Who is your support team? You should have at least 10 people. I know people don't have that many bridesmaids, but you should at least have like 5 to 10 people.
Bridesmaids.
I mean,
that and it's weird because sometimes you don't know who those people are. They're right in front of you. You haven't identified who they are. That's one of the biggest things. I have a huge audience. I know I've trained so many people, so much so that I can be out in a different state having ice cream and someone goes, damn it. And I've trained them.
mhm.
They remember my name. But we live in, I like to use the Fight Club analogy. We have single serving friends.
Mhm.
And sometimes that single serving friend is one of our biggest fans. And we don't get to know that. And that's one of the things that you probably are saying, that people need to identify who those people are if they don't really know who they are, if they can't really identify them right off the bat.
I will say that I have had the opportunity to discover this recently in my journey, actually within the past month. And it kind of took me a while to find my voice because I felt very silenced before. And I was like, this is a stranger danger, but I really like this stranger. You know what I mean?
You have some cool things. You say some of the coolest stuff. Sure.
So I'm like, and then like when I started to really come out and talk to people, I realized that I do have people that care. There are people that are in the support and that I don't have to stay silent and that my voice does matter and it does have an impact. And I started to like talk to people and come out and be like, this is what's happening. Emmett, A lot of people have been through what I've been through in the industry and were vulnerable with me and started opening up.
Oh yeah.
And then like this support circle started to come around me, one that I needed more than I thought
So
because
you
I
all
thought I
needed
was
each
alone.
other. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's very relevant since the pandemic. The pandemic pushed everybody home. Everybody figured out how to work in a silo. And then that really became the normal. So when you move back into spaces, it seemed like you're around familiar strangers.
Mhm.
And you're like, you still feel isolated in a crowd, in a sea of people. So, we need to reinitiate these. And I know these because I have teenagers and I can see how their developmental and confidence status has been shaken because of the pandemic versus my children who didn't have to go through that. They're just wild in the world. They're just taking no prisoners. Um, but I understand what you're saying. And, I realize that your work blends creativity, heart, strategy, and what I can see is it's pulling a bit from your spirit. But what does this aligned marketing mean to you? And how can you help clients achieve this? Because I know we see the world from our own eyes. We don't see the world from how our clients see us or should see us.
So with that, you're gonna think this is like quirky, but one of the benefits of working with like again neurodivergent is we notice patterns. We notice patterns of your behavior, and we notice your tagline that you use. We notice like your hand gestures, your movements, things that you say a whole lot, and your catchphrases that you don't even realize you do. And the thing is those things stand out to us.
Yeah.
And so when we send out emails and I'm writing them, I'm like, okay, so what is your catchphrase? And let's say that it's mine is y'all. Everybody has probably noticed that. And it's like, hey y'all, yes, I'm from the South, small town, population 200, made 300 something, and that would be my like my catchphrase, and that's your audience. They love you for that. Do you know that about yourself? And that makes your voice authentic to you. And then I can take that and say, okay, how do you want this to align to your audience? Where does your heart stay? Where does your heart want to be? Because it is heart. An entrepreneur is heart. They are
Mm.
working thousands of hours. It's nonstop around the clock. They're dreaming about it because it's meant for them. It was put in their head as a dream because this is their vision for their life. It's their calling. It's not just something that's made up and fabricated, right? So that's their voice connected with them and then empower them. Sometimes self doubt will fill your client's head and they'll be like, I don't know if I can do this. This is a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's too bad. I have you a conference booked at October 13th and it starts, in a couple hours. I already booked you a taxi. Are you ready?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like sometimes you need that though. Like sometimes you need somebody else to see you for all that you've done. You need somebody else to see you for where you could be, to see you in the different
You
steps
know,
of your journey.
that is a big item because somebody said this to me the other day. They're like, Emmett, you're great at solving other people's problems. Sometimes you're not great at solving your own. You
I
know,
understand that.
and that's I was like, you know what? Yeah, because I can't see this. I'm still seeing the forest. I can't see the trees
Mhm.
on this one particular thing. But that makes very much sense what you're referring to. You've supported brands with launches, content creation, social media strategy, and more. What's your approach to making sure your client's voice shines through those? I know you've given us an inkling of it, but I suspect there's more.
There is. So I even go deep into their sales pitch deck. How are you connecting with your audience? Do you know who that is? What is their age range? I'm going to ask you the questions that are deep to get you to think about your goals. What do you want?
Hmm.
Because once you tell me these things, I start putting the puzzle pieces together. I can hyper focus and I just need to go down the list for you. And then I'm like, let's meet. I need to review everything and the progress that I've made. I hope you have some caffeine.
Oh,
So, yeah. But like that's like I like to break it down to like the sales pitch. How do you meet with your clients? Who is that? And then how do you follow up afterward? A
yeah.
lot of people in the industry miss the follow up key piece. They're just like, okay, I met with you. You know what I mean?
I do
Now
know what
what?
you mean. I struggle with that a little bit myself because sometimes the interactions are quick and they're multiple, and to keep them straight, sometimes you just need to say, "Hey, I'm going to get back to you in a little bit." But if you're not strategic about it, you'll miss that follow up.
Exactly. Like at RA Plus, what happens next? You
Yeah.
built everything up to RA Plus. Now what? And then now it's Q4. Now what? You know what I mean? Like it's different pieces like that. And when you have like different things coming up, what is 2026 events? Are you lined up with the 2026 events? Do you have virtual workshops? Do you have any
Mm.
trainings? Do you have any interviews? Or have you followed up on your previous content? Have you repurposed that content? How is that content doing? Is it presenting ROI that your audience likes? Is it repurposeful? Like, have you done another trial of it? You know what I mean?
No, you're. I have a friend who's a brand coach, and literally, I just had this conversation, and you're saying the same thing she was saying to me about some of my stuff. She's saying exactly what you said.
And then it's like now that you've done this for quarter 1, 2, and 3, does your audience like this or would they like more? Think about it. Would they like a blog? What if they are traveling on a plane a whole lot? Would they like a blog to read because they can't listen because of the plane flight mode? Is that next for you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it's like, what about being a keynote speaker? Can I challenge you that? Can I push you to that? I know some people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, and keep in mind, so I'm like a little old lady. I like to get to know everybody. And I will bake you cookies and I like to just get to know you and talk to you. And it is really, really fun. And then so that's why I'm like, I know people. Are you ready for the next step? And that's kind of things like I try to put back into their
Yeah.
business. And, you know, and it's these small tools that they don't even realize that they have. Like another gap is onboarding. When you sign a client, what happens next? That onboarding window is very key. What does it look like for you? And then people are like, oh man, I haven't thought about that. Let's build that. You know what I mean? So it's different ways to build up to different things to the creation piece that aligns with what the audience needs.
You know that you're. I feel like I'm having a social media presence therapy session right here.
You are
you know,
therapy for my heart. So
because all these things we don't realize. We don't live in this traditional media sense. We don't live in this traditional presence of presenting ourselves to the world. And I was literally talking, and it keeps coming up in the diaspora. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who's in Germany, who was a model back in the day, and she's getting back into modeling. And I'm like, why don't you have a social media presence? And she gave me the reason why, which was a valid reason. But I was trying to understand how she would be presented to the world today, because, like you said, we go online, we see something, and depending on how we absorb information, we either want to hear it, read it, visualize it, and hear it, or have some other kind of interaction. Maybe there's an app, or maybe I don't want to see the whole thing. Maybe I just want to see it in 3-minute chunks in reels,
Mhm.
because I'm like that. I'm just sitting at the airport, and I'm about to board, and I want to find out more, but I don't want to hear the whole thing. I want to
Mhm.
bookmark it. These things are what you're saying, and then you have the IRL aspect, which you're referring to. Hey, are you going to be at a show? Are you going to connect with people online, but you're there and they're there too at the
Mhm.
same
Are you
moment?
going live? Yep.
Yeah, people don't think of it in these terms that now it's just not, hey, I'm going to be at the Ford Auditorium on January 6th. Be there. That's it. Now it's a lead up to that. There's
Yep.
teasers to that.
Yep.
There's print media, there's sound media, there's visual media campaigns. And you're saying you help with all that. And then you just might need to know the right person to connect this all together.
Yeah. And then I also help book meetings. Like, think about it. You're going to go be there. That's your time. Time is valuable and it's
Yeah.
something you can't get back. So, with that, how do you use it wisely? What if you had meetings on the calendar after you got off stage and you had 5? What if one of those turned into a sponsorship for your business? You wouldn't have had that opportunity if you wouldn't have booked those meetings because you would have been busy in different conversations, like
So
random conversations.
so not only are you doing media, but you're doing executive assisting as well.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I just thought about this. And I don't know if I've identified this, but you could be a liaison for a C-suite executive who is just running with his like a chicken with his head cut off, his or her head cut off, and they just don't have time. Because I understand this. You're in a meeting with somebody, you got to sit down and jot down notes. I record everything because I don't remember anything in the short term. I think I'm
like,
Dory.
I needed to take notes.
Yeah, I think I'm Dory. I think that's what. But I understand all this now based on what you're saying, and I see all the parallels that we have to go through. Looking at the world for someone starting out to outsource their marketing or social media or assistance, they just need, I need to outsource, I need help. What should they look for in a support partner like you?
What they should look for in a support partner is a safe place to be, a safe place to land, a trusted partner. In the solar world, it is quick evolving, quick evolving. And then what I mean by that is like you move really fast and then you evolve. Move really fast and then
Yeah.
you evolve. You know what I mean? This didn't work. Toss it. We're doing this now. You got to be quick. And then you got to think about it. A lot of these people are parents. Take it to the next level. They're traveling. That's a lot. I mean, there's jet lag. There's different foods. You have different sensitivities. You know what I mean? You're traveling to different countries. Your stomachs, you're eating different things. So you're tired. Your mentality is different.
Oh, yeah.
So you know what I mean? So there's all different kinds of like factors. So when they come, they want to talk to me. I want to be that safe place for them that they can say, this is what I'm dealing with. I currently have this going on. I'm currently sick, or I've been in the hospital for 3 days. With that being said, I have no time. I literally have no time. Can you help me with that? Absolutely. Can you just like log me in and let me do my little work? And then that'll free up 10 to 20 hours of your time.
Yeah. So,
And
that makes sense because how does I'm going to pose I'm going to pose this question for you.
Mm-hmm.
How does someone know when they need you, but they don't know that they need you? Like, how do I want to put this? Like, I need somebody, but I think I can do this myself.
My hair starts falling out. Your body starts. I'm
well,
kidding.
Hey, I'm bald.
You start eating more candy. The reason like you can start saying like my plate is full is when you start identifying, all right, the boss, the CEO, whatever position you're in, is assigning more, especially if you're a one marketing team. Imagine being one person doing it all. And then imagine that also on a small business. I love my small business people because they are hard workers. But with that comes a certain mentality of, I think I can do it all.
Yeah,
but
that is very true.
And then when you realize you can't do it all, not because you're not capable, but because it's not your skill set to do it all and you weren't meant to do it all alone. And then when you meet people with a specific skill set and you say, okay, can you do this for me? And you really watch them in their element, you get to go back to what you're good at, which is driving the company, building the company, setting the foundation, and really growing the company, and they get to sit there and they get to do the marketing. They get to be inspired by you, your vision, grow the team, focus on everything else. Imagine not having to have that worry.
I
And that's
understand
all
that.
here.
I understand
Mhm.
that very well. And you put that eloquently. I appreciate that because it can be daunting, especially sometimes you can do it in spurts. But then when those spurts start to become their own task, their own position. That's when I believe someone like you comes in and says, "Hey, your plate is really full because your work gravy is falling off the plate.
Yeah.
Let me put that on my plate so it won't fall off yours. It just take up a little spot on my plate." So that much I really understand. Uh, when someone's having burnout or self-doubt after working with misaligned clients or teams, um, what advice would you give them?
The advice that I would give them is to remember your why.
Mm.
The more that you work in a toxic environment, toxic people, the more that you hear that voice, and it's constant every day. You need to remember the affirmations, remember your why, remember your worth, and continue to let this voice be drowned out. And then when you start to see your worth and say, you know what, this doesn't align with my heart, this isn't right. I need to find my voice and build that voice to stand up for myself and say, this isn't working. I need to find someone else that works with us better. And it's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it. So it's not easy. And it's taking that next step and saying no more, cutting that tie. And then that's where the real magic happens, because when you finally allow that toxic self doubt and that toxic culture go, the door opens and the right clients find you.
You
They
know,
align with you.
Gen Z is really good at that. They will leave something in the dust in a heartbeat.
Heartbeat.
I'm not feeling this. I'm out.
Yeah.
Literally, I was talking with one of my, they're not children, but they're adults. They're like, yeah, I wasn't feeling that. I'm out. There's something else. And my daughter explained to me how that mentality came about, and it makes valid sense. It's this Gen X fault. But I understand where that comes from, and you have to do that for self-care, because I've been through a couple of episodes where you know it makes you question your being.
Mhm.
And then a friend of mine told me sometimes you have to take, and it was a Star Trek reference, a walkabout. You have to go rediscover yourself.
This is not the droid you're looking for. This is not the client you're looking for.
No, no, do not go through that door. You went through the wrong door. Go back out and go to the other one.
Hmm.
What are some of the mistakes you see small business owners and creative entrepreneurs make when they're trying to grow online? Because it's a crazy landscape. And I know for a fact, sometimes I need to take my own advice, but it's a crazy landscape. And sometimes you're just throwing chocolate at the wall to see if it'll stick.
So some mistakes that I see them make again comes back to the do it all mentality, and not in trying to like, I need to do marketing at this time because it fits in my time, not in the algorithm's time. I need to post about this because it's important to me, but it's not important to my audience. I need to go to this event, but not all my audience is going to be here, but it fits into the right time in my life right now because I have certain other things that are going on in my life. So then they try to do it all, different things,
Yeah.
and then they need to also learn to outsource. And it's hard to let go of your baby. You have built this baby, rocked this baby, cried over this baby, been like, is this baby for me? Yes, it is. And then it's time for that baby to start walking. So you need to start outsourcing and learn to let go and trust, not micromanage,
Trust.
trust.
What about tools? Because a lot of new entrepreneurs, there's with AI coming on board, there are
Mhm.
so many tools.
Tools.
I have, I think I paid for 3 tools, and they all kind of do the same thing, but
Similar.
they, but they don't. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And you're
Yes.
like, which one? Like this one does that really well, but this one does this little joint really well. Which one do I get rid of? Which do I need? That's a big thing. Do you help with things like that too? Like, hey, you really don't need all that stuff.
Yes, because one thing that I have learned is, and I have two opinions on this. One thing I've been in a rabbit hole of AI lately and learning about AI, and I have even I've just been a curious kitten. Like it's been my yarn lately. Like, what programs are you using? Why are you using it? What does this do? What benefit does it give you
Yeah.
if you use this tool? And then I have, well, if I don't use this tool, I have human connection and then I
Oh,
still have my voice. Will I lose my voice if I use this tool? However, your voice is telling this robot what to do. So this robot is sending out your voice, your words, your catchphrases. It is taking notes for you. Like right now, I don't know if you remember, but in high school, remember taking minutes? So I was kind of nerdy in high school, fun
well,
fact.
my high school was a
And
long time ago. Like we wrote with feathers and pen.
oh, Atlanta.
That
But
was a long time ago. I don't. I scarred that from my memory. It's like,
but I was
I know
like the
what you're talking
nerdy
about, though.
person. Yeah, and I took the minutes. I was the secretary in clubs and taking minutes with my little notepad. And I was like, this note taker is phenomenal. It puts things into an
Yeah.
agenda for me, a task
Oh,
format for me, sets up my
yes.
whole week, not only for me, for my clients. So we have different responsibilities. And they're like, okay, I got to get this to you, this to you, this to you by
Yes.
this time so that you can get it done. And when I've had a lot of caffeine, I can move pretty quickly. And that's what you want. Time is money, right?
Yeah.
So, and then there's also these other AI which can help you with onboarding, which can now, if you've looked, I told you I've been in a rabbit hole. Imagine your pitch deck, putting your information in Canva and it designing it for you. Imagine that if you're a small business owner. Think about the time you could save. And is it going to need revamping? Sure.
It
Yes.
has made the problem, I think, and we're going down a rabbit hole, and I'm going to wrap this up here shortly, but there are so many products because people are figuring out to make products from AI that do a very specific task. And it can become like TV subscriptions or like cable subscriptions, how we have all these channels like, okay, I have Hulu and I have Max and I have Disney and I have the Target channel and you're like, wait a minute, all that's on Prime. Why am I getting all these if I can just go get that? So I think it's going to be a thing where we're going to start to see in sectors where it levels out and tool suites are going to be like kind of wrapped up into one. But I've digressed and we've digressed. Where can they find out more about you, Brittany Boyette?
You can find more about me on my LinkedIn page. Remember, I have an old lady personality, so I do like to be messaged. We can talk over coffee, and then we can just get to know each other more one on one to see if we can work together and if we are the right fit, and if your vision is something that I can make happen with some wonderful pixie dust. You just let me know because I'm going to try to make your dreams come true the best
Are,
that I can.
are there social media pages other than LinkedIn? Which LinkedIn is the professional one, but a lot of people use Instagram and Facebook and dare say TikTok to market their business or to be a presence in their business. Do you have those as well?
I have those for my friends and my family because I
Mm,
post a lot of my son in there,
yeah, that
and
makes sense.
it's a part of like I was telling you, I'm very passionate about inclusion
Yeah.
and going to special needs events, and I want like families to see that and know that yes, it's okay to go out and try. You never know until you try. So, and that's why I haven't branched out to putting it and only putting it out to family and friends.
Okay. So you'll see her LinkedIn uh at the screen, like right boop, there. Uh Thank you so much for being a guest on the What's Up Solar podcast. I know people were probably saying, how does this tie into renewables? Well, she tied me into renewables. So that's how it worked out. Thank you so much for being a guest.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
All right, everybody, remember this. There's a thing that I used in a podcast years ago. I was talking about the sun. And invariably, depending on who you are, not depending, but everybody worships the sun, because without it, we don't have light. If you don't have light, you can't see what your future is. You can't even imagine the world. But the sun, we've managed to capture that light to provide heat, energy, electricity, and it's called the solar industry. And if you do it right, over time, what you'll find out is that that sun will never send you a bill. Till next time, love you all. Peace.